I am always going to show up twice a week, every Tuesday afternoon. And those are a lot of the US folks. Friday, this stream in the morning is basically for a lot of the MIA folks that can't be here. My name is Holly Lee. I'm a career coach. I spend a lot of years working for startup, also FANG companies. I talk a lot about Amazon because a lot of you guys are asking me about Amazon. If we are connected on LinkedIn, and I encourage you to take a look at my credential, one of the biggest things that I've coached my community member, even you guys, on branding, LinkedIn and or resume is to remove things that are older than 10 years on your credential. That's also age discrimination as well, and a lot of other biases. That's why I don't put it on there. My templates and a lot of my resources are in the community tab. The view is for pay YouTube member. The reason why I'm doing it is the obvious reason, there's a lot of internet troll. Those are folks who have nothing better to do. So they go and they spam creators. That's why the Friday stream is so precious for me, because unless you're a member, you cannot come in here and spam. This is where I am walking you guys through step by step in what I've done, giving you a time with the most innovative thing. It's also the most proudest moment of my life. Also earn trust. Also disagree and commit. You see where I'm going? There's like 50 to 70% of the leadership principle just off of that story. Over 200 people, 15% of that number actually result in landing a job offer within the 1 month or even 3 weeks time frame. But those are the professional who's been prepping for about 6 months before they come to me. So I cannot take credit for all of it. But just to let you know that it requires so much time and energy, professional, to land a job, not just any job, at Amazon. Amazon's bar, to me, is the highest. Take it as a grain of salt when I'm telling you this. I was an HR recruiting leader. I started at Amazon 10, 11 years ago as a senior recruiter, full life cycle recruiter, which means I've done every single thing from looking for candidate. That's how I know how to source. I've been doing that for 20 years, professional, okay? An event program manager to scale across the world for Amazon. And as a recruiting leader, I know exactly what those hiring team does. There are two types of recruiter. There's one who are like me, who can't sit still. I still can't sit still. I'm so damn obsessed in delivering results for you guys. And there's another type of recruiters who drinking the Kool-Aid. Either they have no experience in the first job, is the FANG company. They're sitting too comfortable and they haven't really experienced in working hard. And 90% of my members, my coaching members, have already failed the job interviewed. And they tell me the same thing. Well, the recruiter, I don't understand why they call me for this position, but I'm actually a supply chain manager. Or, it breaks my heart when I have professional that I know that's ready to go and get that job. And then they would come back to me and say, the recruiter at Amazon just told me that I would be a good data analyst. I'm like, what? You're not a data analyst. You're a vendor op. Your entire background is operation. Was that recruiter awake? This is a pure example what I mean by sometimes I truly feel that a lot of the recruiters in this millennial don't know how hard it is to land a first job at like the Google, the Netflix, basically the Microsoft, even the brand name company. And they don't know what it takes to be successful because sometimes or oftentimes they're so busy getting referral. I'm assuming that they have a lot now, where they forget to overlook things. Which is why, professional, your branding is really the ultimate thing. I talk a lot about branding, and branding is right here, my Resume Accelerator. Pay YouTube community member. I am going to give you my LinkedIn Accelerator for free. 2020 was a really rough time for everyone. 2021, I see an absolute bouncing back from the market. Here's the thing I have to tell you, professional. I know that it's still a scary time. You have to look at your background, and I want you to make a list of 10 companies you want to work for. Even if you don't know too much about those companies, but if the role sounds interesting to you, or it's in your local geography, your local area, you have to consider, A, you're getting practice of interviewing, okay? B, you may fall in love with the hiring manager and team, because in 2021, it's shocking to me. I've had 3 people who landed an offer at Amazon, at AT&T even, and at Facebook, and that person chose to work for AT&T. The same scenario for a startup, a tech startup, and Amazon as a solution architect. I love this community member. was with me for 2.5 months, and he landed a position. He realized that it may not be a fit for him, came to me. He was unemployed. So he went from unemployed to getting a job at a very hot startup where they respected him as a solution architect. And he wanted to be able to tell himself, I just want a job from Amazon. It's the biggest thing in the world right now. And then I want to be able to say if I want the job or not. So that's exactly what happened. So Mark got an offer and he turned it down. Not just Amazon, but company have multiple interviewer at the same time because they are shadowing. They're shadower, okay? So you need to be very comfortable there. And anytime when you're in a group setting, they are your biggest cheerleader professional. Okay. You see, even with my YouTube community right here, when someone land a job offer, everyone jumps in and clap their hand for you. And folks do share their experiences as well. So it's really important for you to know that you need to get comfortable speaking in front of other folks. What do you think Amazon does? That's all Amazon. You're always going to be in large group meeting, not group, large group meetings, and do it across the world. When I taught making great hiring decision, a bar raiser have to take my class before they're qualified to interview for back then it was like 300 or quite a few number of them, and then they get to be a bar raiser. So it takes time for them to get there. Know what I'm talking about when it comes to interview feedback prepped and being the liaison, partnering really well with everyone, because I also go on the road with my Amazon B2B team, and my bar raiser at the time were director levels and directors and VP. I hung out with them and I know all the tech questions that they've asked. That's why I'm so passionate. All the even technical product managers, TPMs. If you put on your resume that you're a technical program manager, if you're struggling with your resume and you don't know what you've done and you have no highlight, it's telling me you don't have that experience. So rather than going after the senior level position, why don't we look at a junior role for you to gain those knowledge and then move up? You see where I'm going? If you absolutely have no experience at all, I don't believe that's skiller. I think everyone have a unique set of experiences. Because I personally, as a recruiting leader, HR recruiting leader, I've hired half of my team with no experiences, guys. None, zero. Because I look for aptitude and attitude. Folks that I know that has very strong bias for action that would learn, that would pick up. And I gave an example last week to you guys where when I have my first job as a recruiting leader for Microsoft, I have no experience. None whatsoever. I have never worked for a big company before. I've never managed a team before. I went from zero to inheriting a team to scaling across most of all of the Microsoft special project, like data center, Microsoft, the SDET environment, Windows. I sat in an office with the guy who created and invented Microsoft Windows. You see where I'm going? I have no experiences. So it really has a lot to do with your research. What are you doing to learn about that position? And how are you going to do there by knowledge? If your resume doesn't make sense to me, the first thing that I would ask a lot of my members, what is it that you wanted to do? Describe it to me as a T. My coaching style, tailoring around each person's specific niche. Okay? So maybe it's time for you to consider that part. And then since I will be having a virtual meeting for all of us, that's where I wanted to focus on more of the mock interview setting so that I can hear where you're struggling with. In general, it takes me 1 minute. If you and I are in a Zoom meeting or video conference in 1 minute, if I ask you, it doesn't matter what type of interview questions, I would have you all figure out where to fill the gap. The VIP is monthly subscription is made for those who already have an interview, okay? Already have an interview, because I will go really, really fast. The first thing I do in all of my cohort, and I just wanted to throw that in there, is reviewing your branding. I will review your resume and your LinkedIn so I understand what you've done. Because if I don't review your branding, how on earth am I supposed to know where to help you, okay? Once I've done that, all you have to do is follow my strategy. I'm showing you how to create stories. And I also show you how to recycle your story. And all you have to do is show up every Monday and Wednesday to the mock interview section. As mentioned earlier, it takes me less than a minute to figure you out. Mock and reverse interviewed, where I will repeat everything you say and recycle the whole story to something completely different. I can't do that on here because I can't hear you, my friend Joey. I have to hear what you're saying, okay? You don't have to have all the experiences, but you need to be very smart. You know what? I'm going to make a video to talk about how I was able to land a job at Microsoft as a staffing lead with no experience. I'm going to make a video so you can see I am dead serious. When you show up to an interview and you're really wanting the job, it's in your tone, and you may be really nervous, and you may appear to be desperate because you've been laid off for a whole year, so on and so forth. Don't do that. Remember, all of those hiring managers at Amazon, all of the bar raiser, I guarantee you at least 50% of those BR have failed their Amazon interview.